This is Referee's World with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin.
Hello again and welcome to the Referee's World podcast, the monthly audio magazine which offers education and training for football referees of all levels. My name's Darren Cullum. I'm a Level 5 referee affiliated with Somerset FA, and this is PGMLO assessor and Level 4 FA referees tutor, Rich Mellin. Rich, hello.
Hi Darren, it's nice to see that you've listed my titles this time.
Do you know what, right? I thought, well, this time around I'll be professional, because normally if you're a regular listener, you know that I try to go through Rich's long list of his distinguished titles and I muck them up all the time.
Yes, you do, but you've obviously listened to somebody who's given you some good advice.
I've listened, and you know what? It actually makes us sound quite professional.
Thank you to that listener.
Whoever that was.
Thank you to that listener.
Anyway, if you are a new listener, welcome along to the podcast. We do have, every time we have a new episode, we do have a load more listeners, thanks to social media and thanks to people spreading the word about the podcast, which has now in its 4th year, by the way. So thank you very much for listening. All of this stuff is all online, by the way, at refereesworld.co.uk. That's the website. Jump on there and get involved. You can get involved in the conversation on Facebook as well. Just like our page, search out Referees World Podcast, or on Twitter, the mighty Twitter. We're delighted to have achieved over 3,000 followers. So 3,000 referees around the world are now listening to the Referees World Podcast on a regular basis, which is great.
Over 3,000 listeners.
Over 3,000.
In over 106, more than 106 countries.
We must look at the Google Analytics again and see where we're at now. So in the show this time around, we've got a really exciting show. Rich came into the studio today, buzzing with excitement with all this stuff. I thought he was going to pop and explode. Luckily he didn't, because that would be hideous. But lots of stuff to get through. And in the last episode, we did say that we were going to have some prizes to give away. A little competition, thanks to our friends at refchat.co.uk. They've donated a load of stuff, including, Rich, let's go through this list of stuff that we've got to give away today. We've got this rather nice, it looks like a toilet bag, but it's not a toilet bag.
It's very impressive, I must say. It's basically something like it looks like the holder for a filofax.
It is, yeah, exactly. It's like a little
exactly
holder.
Like, but it's a very nice, well-presented piece of kit from Ross at Ref Chat.
Yeah, so you can put all your cards in there, your notes, your odds and sods, your coins.
He's given us a coin.
He's given us a coin to give away. There's a
match record pads,
an all-weather notebook. There's a lanyard for your whistle to go around your wrist, and there's a little arm band, which I'm presuming, Ross, if you're listening, which I know you will be, is something that you would use to put the buzzer flag thing into.
Yeah, if you've got the buzzer flags, then you have that little battery pack that vibrates on your arm.
That's it.
And that's the piece of gubbins that holds that.
Piece of gubbins.
Well, it's been a long day.
Most people use a piece of that tube bandage stuff, don't they?
Well, we're global, so gubbins might be applicable everywhere.
I like it, yeah, gubbins is good. Yeah. So if you want to see exactly what we're giving away, it's all on the Facebook page or indeed on the Twitter page. And we'll have a nice simple question for you, which goes like this, and we will repeat this through the course of the podcast, but it will be on the website as well, and that is where you're going to have to enter. So here we go. A defender scores an own goal straight from a direct free kick outside of his penalty area. What does the referee do? Does he or she award the goal, B, have the free kick retaken, or C, award a corner kick? All right, so there's your question. It will be on the website. Okay, so that's how you can enter if you want to win all of this stuff. Okay, the website address is refereesworld.co.uk. We've also got a very distinguished guest to be talking to in just a moment. Rich.
Yes, we have. I'm going to be talking to Tim Lawrence, friend and colleague from Surrey FA, and Tim's going to give us the background to the development issues that are happening in Surrey, and hopefully his ideas, we can spread them around, and everybody shares a bit of information and we all develop together.
Excellent. And of course, if you want to listen or tell fellow referees about the podcast, you can do either online, refereesworld.co.uk, or we're on iTunes as well. Just search out Referees World on iTunes, sign up for it, and then whenever there's a new podcast, it will automatically drop onto your phone, your tablet, and all the other iPad stuff that you might be using to listen to stuff with, or devices. So, in the meantime, let us continue. We've got some ramblings. Now, I was trying to think whether we hold this one on right till the very end or whether we do it now before we speak to our guest, Rich.
I'll let you decide, but I had an eventful day recently. I was an appointed observer for the game Bristol Rovers versus Accrington, two Saturdays ago.
Yeah.
Accrington Stanley were the visitors.
Accrington Stanley?
Who are they?
Who are they?
Yeah, there you go.
That milk advert made them world famous.
Absolutely. But we had an eventful day off the pitch. There are a few funnies, and if you were there, and I know the referee's listening, Kevin Johnson, I'll name you now, Paul Marsden, hopefully you are listening to the Referees World podcast, and I can't remember who my other third colleague was, but I will remember before this podcast finishes.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what then. Let's do it at the end.
Right.
I'll give you a chance to remember. Okay. There's 3 amusing little instances which happened, okay? And you can listen to those at the end of this episode. Right now, though, I reckon we get on with our guests. So let's enter centre stage, please, and welcome onto the Referees World podcast for the first time, Tim Lawrence.
Hi there, how are you?
Very well, thank you very much. And thank you for taking time out to speak with us today.
No problem.
Tim, basically, in a nutshell, before we get into the nitty-gritty stuff, tell us a bit about your background in refereeing.
Well, I passed the referees course way back in the 1970s and progressed through the system to what is now really a level 3 referee, even though in my day I referee teams that now play in the conference, that's Conference South and Conference North. And I had many enjoyable games, refereed the Sussex Senior Cup final, because I actually live in Sussex even though I work for Surrey. And I had the pleasure of being the 4th official on Mark Hall's very first ever Football League game.
Wow, excellent. Excellent. What was it? Can you remember much about that game? And we'll talk about this because I know Mark does actually listen to the podcast and he often forwards and retweets the stuff that we do as well. So hello, Mark, as well.
Well, actually, it was a very eventful first game he had at Brighton. It was Brighton versus Chester at the old Goldstone ground. Unfortunately, he arrived a bit late. Despite being there before that, he had a streaker at the coin toss. He had a minor pitch invasion from the north stand across to the main stand. And after less than 30 minutes, his senior assistant got injured and couldn't continue. So I went on for the rest of the first half and all the second half as the assistant.
So it was quite an eventful game, well, not just for Mark, but for you as well, to be involved in that kind of thing.
It was, yeah, but I was used to running the line at Brighton anyway, because I did it a lot in their reserves in the football combination and had refereed on the ground many a time. So to me, it just felt like home.
So was this back in the day? Was Mark still a taxi driver then?
Not sure.
Because that was his nickname, I understand, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? I don't know, to be honest. But this story he has told when I've been in the room.
Well, I came across Mark during my Football League career, and he was already established Football League referee, very close to going to the Select Group Premiership referees list at that time. And he did go there when I was able to be I'm fortunate to be actively running around as an assistant referee at that time. And Mark's nickname did become Taxi. He did become Taxi because he was a taxi driver in Hertfordshire, or Welling Garden City.
Yeah, that's right. And I knew he was from there. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, then he moved up north. Yeah.
So, just moving on with yourself, and now you're the RDO at Surrey FA.
Absolutely right. Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that?
June 2008. So that's 7 years.
And have you seen a lot of changes in that 7 years?
Yeah, quite a lot. If you think when I first was employed there, we had only just moved on from a lot of volunteer staff to professional staff running county FAs. And in my time since there was a head of refereeing and there was 3 admin staff he had, and he had 10 regional managers under him, whereas now there's just a head of refereeing, 2 admin staff, and 3 national managers. And that's all really because of the RDOs in county FAs and the work they do.
OK, well, look, thanks for sharing a bit more about your background as well. Let me hand you over to Rich now, who I know and you've stumbled across at various FA meetings, etc. So, Rich, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Darren. Stumbled. I'm not so sure that's a word that thespians use. Is it, Tim?
No. There'd probably be falling or feigning.
Yeah.
And just on that, I have to say, working in the theatre as I did before gave me a fantastic insight into players' simulation.
Oh, okay. We might get to that. We
you're
might
a
get to that
thespian as well, then.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Well, welcome to the Referees World podcast, Tim.
Thank
you. What sort of just generically, what sort of projects are on the go with Surrey County FA referees and those things that you're leading at the moment?
Some of the projects we've got are with our Academy of Referees that operate at Fulham, and our development group of referees. They're our sort of like senior referees, some level 6s, 5s and 4s, and we now have a joined-up link between the two, where we can feed from the academy into our development group. So we've actually created, which we did last season, was an associate membership of the development group, which is like a halfway house, whereas our development group referees get one-to-one coaching. Those in the associate group can attend all the meetings, get all the benefits, but don't get one-to-one coaching, simply because they can't devote the time, and perhaps they're not ready to step up yet. That's just one of the projects.
Yep. Okay.
That we got going. Another project that we got going, which was launched last week, and is available to read on our website. That's www.surreyfa.com. Is we've offered to our development group of referees, and every one of them, which is 18 of them, has signed up to the new thing of online learning for referees.
Okay, and if I'm correct in saying online learning involves Sports Officials UK?
Correct.
What's the development with that, Tim, and what's the benefits of having online learning for them?
Well, we're actually going through a consultancy, Sports Officials consultancy, and we've gone through them, and it's through the online learning. So for a one-off annual fee, and it's less than a match fee is what I'll say, it's less than a match fee, is they get the benefit of the online learning modules, which is some generic modules to do with communication, body language, positioning, selling decisions, and they also get a digital logbook. So whereby in the digital logbook, they can enter all their games, they can also enter all their strengths and their development points, and depending what level of access we give to their one-to-one coaches, they can have access to it as well to see what the referee's written, and the coach can add to it. And as administrators, there's 3 administrators to the scheme, we can then input all the data that we need of all the meeting dates.
Yeah.
The other advantage that it will have further down the line is that we can then upload our own online learning modules that we can write ourselves. And also, let's just say, for example, you've got a very contentious clip from a game of football. We can upload that and spread that amongst, certainly only at the moment, our development group, and we can pose questions and get them to feed back into it. So it's an online learning platform. And in fact, we're partly doing that already with filming some of our own guys refereeing. And we take some of those clips and share it at the meetings. But this way it will give us the opportunity to upload it onto an online learning platform.
Okay, this sounds like huge development, and it's only just by good fortune that I decided to ring you this afternoon, Tim, for a chat about referee development in Surrey, because I have to own up that I phoned Kevin Pike first of all, but Pikey's on holiday until tomorrow, so I thought, well, who else do I know as an RDO that's close to me? And I thought, I'll ring Tim Lawrence. What a very good opportunity to have just literally decided that I'll ring Tim. And here you are, giving us such an insight to the future. What do you see coming out of this in short term and long term, Tim?
Well, short term, obviously there's just generic modules on there at the moment that cover like all sports. And one of the advantages, of course, the referees, they just dip in and dip out. So if they've got a spare evening that they can dip in and start on one of the modules, and then during a day or a week, let's say on a Saturday, they've got a game off, or the games are off, they think, actually, I can go back and I can do some more learning. And like I say, we can upload specific modules. At the moment, it's only been offered to our development group. This week, we are going to be offering it to our Referees Academy at Fulham, and then also to our promotion candidates, which we've got about 80 of. That's going 7 to 6, 6 to 5, and 5 to 4. And then beyond that, it's going to be offered to all Surrey referees. And there's a big launch on the 29th of October, where we have our annual RAFA event, and I can announce that Roger East is our guest speaker. Again, that's on our website. And we will be offering that available, the online learning, to all those that attend that night, and demonstrating it as well.
It's clearly the way forward, isn't it, to do this stuff online, which is great to hear. And the fact that you've kind of taken that step to go in that direction. And for me, and not just for me, but for perhaps quite a few considerable younger referees, online is the future with most things like apps for the phone and tablets and this, that and the other. This potentially could attract a younger generation of referee, couldn't it?
Yes, it could do. Something that I'm also looking at, and I have to have discussions with the referees department of the Football Association about this, is, of course, with the referees course, as it's now called, there's pre-course study, and at the moment that's in a booklet form, and I would hope at some point to be able to upload that onto the online learning platform as well, and get them to do it that way. Now, whether they would have to pay for it or not, I don't know. That's, probably for next season.
How many referees have you got signed up to the whole programme as it is?
Only 18 at the moment, because we've only offered it to our development group as a starter. We didn't want everybody signed up in one go.
How many registered referees have you got in the county then, Tim?
We have parented referees, just under 1,100.
Okay. So
that's parented, but with, of course, associate referees, it's well over 1,200.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I mean, the project, if you would let it loose to all and sundry, I mean, it's a huge task.
Yes,
that lies ahead.
Yeah, it is. It's not only for us, but for the companies, the companies involved as well. So it's been very much a long term in the planning. This has been. It's not something that we've sort of jumped into straight away. We've been in discussions with the company for quite some considerable amount of time. There's no financial implication to Surrey County FA, because the referees themselves sign up individually with the company. So as far as we're concerned, there's no, what's the word I'm looking for, really? There's no financial implication to us.
Yeah.
The long term is actually we could benefit from it, because if a certain amount of people sign up, then we might get... commission is probably the wrong word.
Well, there's always a commercial benefit to these sort of things as well, isn't it?
Of course
because,
there is.
You can then start having people to advertise certain products on that are coming through the online sort of training side of things.
Yeah, and of course the other thing is, if we write, as Surrey County FA, if we write a training module and get it uploaded, and let's just say Dorset FA as you tried, and Kevin Pike says, actually, I like that, he doesn't have to pay, he doesn't have to write it, he doesn't have to pay the full amount, he just pays, that they would then pay a part amount of like a commission to Surrey County FA. So it's a commercial business. It can bring money into Surrey County FA long term.
I suppose as well, with it being online, there's you've already mentioned the fact that you can upload modules, etc. You can also stream the Referees World podcast on it, can't you?
Yes, we could do.
Please do. Don't let me stop you, Tim.
Yeah,
Don't let me stop
go
you.
for it.
Yeah.
We should do a back scratcher. You promote us and we'll promote you.
Well, that sounds quite good to me. So you'll need to send me some links,
Great.
Send it to my email address, which Rich has got.
Yeah, excellent.
We're
Thanks,
all
Tim.
over that one.
Thanks
like
for that,
Tim.
Tim. Yeah.
Listen, Tim, just a quick one. Let's just go back to
Let's
the.
develop this. Yeah, this is intriguing.
This is great. I mean, I'm sure we can really work.
This is
with
just
this.
by
It's
pure luck
just-
we
yeah.
come across this with Tim.
Tell us about a typical module, Tim.
Well, like I say, the modules that are up there are generic at the moment. So it would take you through, let's just say there's one on body language. So it'll take you through how to promote confident body language, posture, hand signals, arm signals, the way you stand, just that sort of thing. Positioning, the benefits of various positioning on the field of play. That's just 2 examples that I can give you.
Okay.
And the beauty of it is that you can chop and change these things and refresh them as you go along, but you can also go back to them but look at them from different angles as well, can't you? This is something that we do on the podcast. There's various things that we talk about, but we often go back to it and look at it from a different angle or a different perspective, and that way you often discover new things and new ways of learning about it.
Yes, yeah, and because you've paid your annual membership, you can just revisit it as many times as you like. And of course, one of the other things we can do is, let's just say, because we've got our academy referees on it, we can have a certain section for them. And if somebody doesn't attend a meeting, we can upload, if there was a presentation, we can then upload that onto the website, and then they can, onto the online platform, and then they can, look at it. And people can then go back into it and say, that's what was said, I remember that was the advice given.
Do you know what? I'm just thinking aloud here, but the stuffy old reputation that a lot of refereeing has had over the years could slowly be moved aside for this kind of training for referees, couldn't it?
It could be, yeah. Now, somebody had to be bold enough to stick their head over the parapet, put their toe in the water, call it what you like. But, we have the full backing of the president of the county FA, the chairman, the vice chairman, the board of directors, and our CEO. Everybody's completely backed it.
Brilliant. I think it's.
I was going to say, well done you, Tim, and well done Surrey FA. Well done.
And I'm sure there's going to be FAs all over the country and all over the world listening to this, thinking this is definitely a move in the right direction. And it will be nice to think that off the back of what you've been talking about here, that people will follow suit and just watch your progress before they think, OK, we're going to do this as well. Can I ask one thing before I hand back to Richard, Tim? Does this mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but are you sort of pulling away from the FA altogether? No.
Absolutely not. This is an enhancement to it. I've actually had discussions with Ian Blanchard. Discussed it with Keith Stroud and Roger Vaughan, and they're some of the FA national managers, Ian Blanchard being the head of refereeing, and they are fully supportive of it because they are fully aware that the FA cannot, at this current moment, supply something like this because obviously the FA IT department are working on the whole game system, and this will augment the current training that county FAs can offer. Now, just to add to that, I'm fully aware, because in my discussions with Ian, that Manchester FA also offer some form of additional training outside of the FA, and their promotion candidates pay for it.
Okay. Tim, I mean, I'm totally fascinated in this conversation, and pure luck. Time is not going to be on our side this evening to discuss this, and as everybody's just found out, we're recording this in the evening. Tim, let's go one step further with referee development. How does this impact on Referees Association and other bodies interested in that type of work?
No, it won't impact on it at all. In fact, if you take, for example, the whole game system, the football services manager, a guy called Tom Holder, and myself, have actually been going around the referee societies promoting the whole game, and this is just an additional thing that's available to referees. So it won't impact upon the referee societies, because actually I'm secretary of my own society in Horsham where I live, and I obviously deliver a lot of training there, and it won't impact at all. Like I say, it just, and I keep using the word augment, it will assist, it will help referees develop even more.
Okay, Tim, I just want to take the conversation into an area which it will be new for our listeners to hear about, but we're mindful and have been for a long time of promoting the Referees Association and the concept of what the Referees Association represents. And here we are. We have, I think you can correct me here because you'll have up-to-date figures. We have about 28,000 registered referees in the country. Is that fair to say?
I think it's about 24.
24, okay, I was slightly over, but I do record a figure previously of about 28, of which only around about 7,000 of those 28,000 were members of the RA. And what myself and other people have been discussing is how do we reach out to those other people that are non-RA members and we get them involved in referee development and enhancing their performance and enjoyment. And I've been talking with colleagues and friends around the West Country and we've come up with the idea of ref support. And we're certainly not looking to oppose FAs, county FAs, or the Referees Association. We just want to enhance the opportunity for every referee to develop their performance and involvement. And like I say, we're looking to find why those, I'll use the quote of why is there only 25% of registered referees involved in the RA? What are those other 75% doing? So, we're looking around to see if we can give ref support a little bit of a helping hand to get launched here. And it's certainly not there to oppose anything the RA's doing, or in fact the county FAs and the FAs. We're there to help develop and provide other options of support for referee development.
Yeah, like I say, this onlining and help referee support. I also think that sometimes the RA societies, and it's only some in some areas, need to sort of perhaps move away if they've only got like 10, 12 people attending a meeting to merge with another society. Now, if I use my own society for an example, and a lot of societies in Surrey, because I'm obviously fully aware of what they do, they actually start the meeting a lot earlier and have something for the younger people. So my own society in Horsham, we actually open the doors at 7 o'clock and say, come along, we're available from 7, we've got a youth section, come along, you guys have a chat. We'll start the meeting at 7:45, guest speaker straight on, break, after guest speaker at 8:45, and the youngsters can go home because they've had their training. And what some societies could do is actually say, look, because we're only getting a small number of people, why don't we alternate where we meet? So A goes to B for 1 month, B goes to A another month, and they get a quality speaker in, rather than thinking, okay, we'll just do match incidents. And I think that way it will also encourage more referees that aren't members of the RA to join the RA.
We had a very similar conversation a few episodes back with Stockport RA, and they were telling us about the things that they do to try and encourage the referees. And the feedback and the response we got from them was exactly the same as yours, in terms of it was very proactive with doing things to encourage the youngsters. And off the back of that, it went down a route of talking about food being served on the night, and it turned out, Rich, it was Aunt Bessie's
Aunt Bessie's chips.
Or something. Oh, right, and Aunt Bessie's now started to follow us because of it.
If that's what attracts them, that's what attracts them. But you have to find, as I call it, you have to find the hook that's going to get them in there.
Tim, listen, before we finish, there's loads that we could really talk about here, but obviously, as Rich has already said, time is against us at the moment. But one thing I would like to ask you is, perhaps after Christmas, if you could come back on to the podcast with us and just basically tell us how the first few months of this has worked for you. Absolutely. There'll be no problem at all. And I can also tell you about our referees who refereed at the Dana Cup in Denmark, where I was with them. And bearing in mind that a lot of the games are streamed live on their website.
Tim, before we disappear, have you got any immediate meetings arranged for development training of referees that you want to announce online?
Well, we have our annual RA FA event where the RA support it as well, which is on Sunday. What am I saying Sunday? I'm thinking of something else. It's on Thursday, the 29th of October at Met Police. That's Imber Court, where Roger East is our guest speaker for the evening. And like I say, we'll be having a drop-in session to do with the whole game system and online reporting, and people will also be able to see this online learning and look at it and sign up on the night or as and when if they want to. So that's Thursday, the 29th of October, Met Police at Imber Court, and that's really for Surrey referees, but if we do have space, because the room holds over 200, and last year we did have over 210 when Howard Webb was our guest speaker. We normally have room for some visitors.
No pressure on Roger East. After you've had Howard Webb last year, you got Roger East this year.
Well,
Poor old
our
Eastie.
numbers are already up to 150, and we only advertised it last Thursday. That's in less than a week.
Well, I know Roger East listens to the Referees World podcast, and now to find out in this particular way is probably not. He's probably frowning a little bit now.
He knows
but Eastie's a good lad. You'll have a good evening with Roger.
Listen, Tim, it's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and thanks very much for sharing about the online learning side of things, which I think is just such a massive step forward in terms of development of referees, particularly from grassroots level. And I think the take-up on this is going to be very, very good over the coming sort of 6 to 12 months. I really do.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Yeah, good luck with that, Tim.
Yeah, right, good luck with that, Tim. And we look forward to speaking to you again, perhaps after Christmas, just to get an idea as to how it's all going.
Yeah, absolutely, no problem.
Thanks very much, Tim.
Thanks.
This is Referees World with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin.
And our thanks to Surrey County FA, RDO, Tim Lawrence, and what a really interesting thing they're doing as well. And I love the way that they've, as he was basically saying in that interview, just taken the ball by the horns and thought, OK, we're going to do this because this is the way forward and this is what's going to make everybody learn and bring the young ones through. I mean, how important is that?
Yeah, and it's not opposing any association. It's not opposing the FA, not the RA. It's supporting the development of referees and match officials. So hugely interesting. I can't believe how lucky we were just to stumble over it.
No, it was. Tell me more about ref support, by the way.
Right. Okay. Ref support. What we're trying to do is we are not opposing anybody. That's first and foremost. I want everybody to understand that. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to set up a body that will represent referees in all areas of development. Now, a referee can come to you with a report, an assessment, a piece of coaching information that he's not quite happy with, not understanding. Can you help him with it? That's what ref support will be about. We look to provide online training through Sports Officials Consultancy. That's something else that was mentioned by Tim. So ref support is being led by Martin Cassidy. He is very, very good at what he does and how he does it. That's the most important thing. And he's full of enthusiasm, full of energy, and very passionate about developing referees. And we see developing referees through ref support as another option, as another cog there to support referee development. And that's what it is. It's not opposing anybody, and it's not trying to pinch anybody else's membership. So we've got to try and reach out to help develop these referees that are non-members of the RA. How do we do it? We're trying to introduce ref support as another option. And how we're going to do it, we're just going to try and give them more direct online stuff. There's the coaching module, access for the coach, access for the referee, and we're going to go out there and support development of referees as best we possibly can. It's another option for referees. It's not opposing anybody. And of course, it's trying to support it.
Absolutely, it's the support all the way. This might be something that you'd like to discuss online with fellow referees, and if you do, then why not go to refchat.co.uk. It's one of the fastest growing referee forums to air your views, talk about these things. You might pick up some ideas yourself there, and it's thanks to them that we've got some nice prizes to give away. It's a goodie bag full of it's a goodie bag full of goodies, basically.
Yeah. What else will it be?
So what we've got in there, we've got a nice wallet with a couple of cards in. We've got some all-weather notebook. There's a lanyard to put your whistle on around your around your wrist. There's a nice coin.
Whist? Did you say whist?
I really nearly did. There's also a little armband that you can put your buzzer flag battery thing bit, or what did you call it earlier? Gubbins. That was it. It's a nice little prize, and all you have to do is answer this question, and you can do that by going to the website, which is refereesworld.co.uk. The question: a defender scores an own goal straight from a direct free kick outside his penalty area. What does the referee do? Does he or she award the goal? B, have the free kick retaken? Or C, award a corner kick? And now it's over to you. We will announce the winner and contact them prior to us recording the next episode of the Referees World podcast, which is what you're listening to right now with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin. And if you want to listen to previous episodes as well, feel free. Go ahead, fill your boots. We're online at refereesworld.co.uk, on Twitter at Referees World.
This is Referees World with Darren Cullum and Richard Mellin.
And before we go, we did say at the beginning that there was a couple of funnies that Richard stumbled across on, let's say, so to speak, at a recent Bristol Rovers game that you were at, and you were there assessing the referee.
Yes, I was there as match observer, as they now call us.
Okay.
So we're no longer called assessors at that level. We are now observers.
Match observers.
And the day off the field of play was eventful.
Okay, so it's nothing that actually happened during the game or anything like that?
No.
Brilliant.
Nothing to do
so
with...
it's not a match incident?
Nothing to do with on-field decision-making, but a couple of things happened off-field.
Go on then, let's hear about it.
Well, it's Bristol Rovers versus Accrington Stanley, and we've had to joke about the milk and things like that. There we are. We're sat down there. There's 5 or 6 of us sat down pre-match, having a cup of tea and a sandwich. This is just before 1 o'clock for a 3 o'clock kickoff. That's standard timing. We're sat there having a cup of tea and we're having a chit chat. And
so at this point, are you still suited and booted?
Yes, we're all suited and booted still there. We're all casual. We're casually sat around, but we are suited and booted as expected on arrival. We're sat in the room, we're having a nice cup of tea and a chat, and in comes this gentleman from the car park stewards. And bearing in mind, he's come from the other side of the ground at Bristol Rovers, the Memorial Stadium. He's walked all the way around the ground, through the stadium, and come to this room where we are, 2 floors up. And he comes in and don't want to alarm you guys, but one of the match officials' cars, the handbrake's come off and it's rolling down in the car park. And, everybody's saying, well, whose is it? And then 1 or 2 lads said, well, it could be mine. And there was a little bit of hesitation about the whole issue because, no one knew who it was, but the referee thought, well, it has to be mine. Now, why did the referee think it had to be his car? But I'm going to name him because I already have. Kevin Johnson, you were that referee on the day. He did go into a little bit of panic mode.
I would have done.
He left the room quite sharpishly and was
Some
gone.
may say it's the quickest you've ever ran, Kev.
and he was gone 10, 15 minutes. And like I say, we thought, oh dear, something's happened badly. The car's rolled down and hit into another car, because that's what did happen. The car rolled into another car that was stationary. And Kevin got out there and, he found out that it wasn't his car. But he came back in, and his his demeanour, he was quite pleased and quite relaxed.
Yeah, I'll bet.
And the
That's all right, boys. It wasn't mine.
The sweaty brow had, it was no longer. But it was known that it was a match official's car. So now I've named Kev Johnson. It wasn't Kev Johnson. It was Paul Marsden.
Paul Marsden. It was your car. Did he forget to put the handbrake on, or?
I don't remember actually. But the handbrake clearly had released itself. There's one of these modern cars, and I don't know how they actually work because
It's like a button, isn't it? The handbrake's a button or something.
Yeah, and what had happened? It had released itself.
That's
and
hilarious.
Unfortunately, it had only rolled about 2 car spaces backwards. Into the next car and only damaged the registration plate of the car.
Still very funny though.
But it was a little Fiat. It was one of those little lady Fiat cars, if I call it one of those, like a bubble shape.
You're really crushing him now.
Oh
aren't you?
yeah,
With his little lady car.
It was funny. It was funny on the day.
What else happened then?
Right, and another incident that happened at Team Sheets. There we were at Team Sheets, same game in the change room, same game, and the teams are there, the captains are there, and I'm stood beside the Accrington Stanley captain, and all of a sudden he starts pointing at Paul Marsden, and don't think, what's he doing? And all of a sudden, on the back of Paul's neck and bottom of his hairline, there was this massive spider. And we said, what's that? And of course, he felt the spider crawling up the back of his hair, and he knocked it to the floor. And, we all stood there. Now, let me think, there's 5 match officials and 4 club officials, two captains, two managers, all stood there, and this spider gets thrown to the floor, and I'm thinking somebody's just going to flatten it. But no, the spider ran freely away across the floor.
Brilliant.
So, I mean, poor old Paul Marsden.
Paul Marsden, you're really getting it, aren't
absolutely. You? But, you know, all the off-the-field stuff. Finally,
go on.
Same game.
Was Paul Marsden involved?
No. Well,
Paul
he was
Marsden
there.
right now is the most famous referee around, but not for refereeing reasons, for other things.
But and finally, on this occasion, a level 4 colleague here in the West Country didn't have a game on that day, and decided that he asked could he come as my guest to PGMOL, and providing I didn't have any official guests such as a reviewer or a coach that wanted to use my spare ticket, I said to Sam Idden, that Sam, you can come as my guest. And while we were there, we were just down on the edge of the perimeter of the field of play, just beside the barriers. And Sam was stood there, and the security officer. Dave Harper. Now that doesn't matter. Dave Harper, ex-policeman. He's now he's safety and security officer at the Memorial Stadium. He actually reckons that Sam Idden looks like David Beckham. Oh my word! We were absolutely just.
Was he serious?
He was serious.
That was brilliant.
He said, "Sam Midden, if you're listening," I said I wouldn't mention this, but I'm sorry, I couldn't hide it anymore.
Hey, that's what it's all about. It's all a bit of banter. And look, if you've got any other, off the match incidents, that would be good to hear as well.
Funnies. Give us some funnies.
Absolutely. We love the funnies, and we love to talk about them as well. Thanks very much for listening to this episode. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've learned something from it as well, particularly with the online training side of things, which we're going to be taking a keen watch on how that progresses over the coming months as well. Don't forget, you can spread the word about the Referees World podcast, post and share the link, etc. You can pick that up by going to the website, which is refereesworld.co.uk.
This is Referees World. Listen online at refereesworld.co.uk or search iTunes for Referees World.